Okay, here we are at the Hellcat hangar. I'm joined with Doug Harrington, who is the volunteer flightline narrator for the Naval Aviation Museum. How you doing, Doug?
Doing great. Glad to be here. Thank you.
We appreciate you coming in. We thought it would be fun, and Doug's going to kind of help us out talking about what we're looking at here. Why don't you go ahead and start, Doug?
All right. Let's introduce the team as they taxi out. This is the 2023 Blue Angel Flight Demonstration Squadron. Flying the number one aircraft, just taxiing out, is the brand new boss of the Blues in his first year, Navy Commander Alex Armitage. Flying on the boss's right wing, taxiing out in the number 2 aircraft, this gentleman is from Brockton, Massachusetts. In his final year as a Blue Angel, Navy Lieutenant Commander Chris Kapushansky. Flying on the boss's left wing, here comes the number 3 aircraft. She is from Mounds View, Minnesota. This is her first year as a Blue Angel. It's Navy Lieutenant Amanda Lee, flying number 3.
Yeah, she's really brought a lot of attention, hasn't she?
Really, probably more attention than she'd like to have. Flying the coveted slot position, that gentleman right there flies the number 4 aircraft, his final year as a Blue Angel. He's from New York, and also from San Francisco, California. Navy Lieutenant Scott Goosens flies that number 4 position. Then here come the solos. In his first year as the lead solo, he flies the number 5 aircraft. He's from Woodlawn, Tennessee, Navy Lieutenant Commander Julius Bratton. And flying the opposing solo, his very first year as a Blue Angel, he is from Madison, Wisconsin. Navy Lieutenant Commander Griffin Stengel flies number 6.
Yeah, this team's really come a long way. They look great. They looked amazing at the Pensacola Beach Air Show. Here we go.
All right, when they get ready to roll, the boss calls smoke on, brakes off, and they lift off. You'll notice number 4 as he slides into that position, into the slot position. He's the one that calls gear up, and off they go. This is the takeoff and afterburner, and they're going to climb up to just about 8,000 feet as they go over the top, starting with what we call the cubanate. They'll complete the half cubanate. They come back down the backside. The boss will roll the team upright. They come back across the field, and then they complete the cubanate.
Heck of a way to start a air show, isn't it?
It really is. And you picked a beautiful day to video these guys, so they had a clear sky. The Blue Angels have 3 different levels of show they can do. With a clear sky like this, they can do the high show. If they've got about at least 3,500 feet, they can do a low show. And if they've got less than that, they do what's called a flat show. So they're ready in all kinds of weather. So this time they're going to go back up, almost back up to 8,000 feet. They'll come over the top, and they'll complete the loop that we call the cubanate. Then the solos roar, and you watch Julius Bratton. He's going to lift off. You can see him in the corner there. Watch his facial expression now. He's going to roll that airplane dirtied up. And when we use the term dirtied up, it means the gear and flaps are down. In the landing configuration, we call that dirty. And if you keep your eyes down low, now you can watch Griffin Stengel fly number 6 as he takes that Super Hornet and he goes straight up, and then he comes over the top into what we call an Immelman. Then just as quickly as they disappear, the Blue Angel Diamond Formation comes by, and the boss brings them in the first Diamond 360. Gives the crowd a chance to look at what 18 inches separation between cockpit and canopy looks like. They are glued like they are one. It is amazing to watch. Then they come right back with what they call the diamond roll.
I love these in-cockpit video peeks at the pilots. It's pretty interesting to see that perspective.
It really is. And it's, we were talking earlier, don't see much of an expression on their face. They're chewing gum, and they're looking out, flying as tight a formation as they possibly can. Then here come the solos, inverted to inverted rolls. Their closing speed's about 900 miles an hour. And you get a good look at Julius Bratton. Here's one of the tough ones we talk about. This is where the boss brings the diamond formation down the runway, then they separate slightly, and each aircraft does a 360-degree roll. And we always like to talk about the importance of teamwork, because while they're in that roll, they don't see the other members of the team for a couple of seconds.
Talking trust right there.
This one's called the Fortis. This is the solos again. And this time they are dirtied up. Gear flaps and the tail hook are down in this.
These people don't realize just how difficult it is to fly inverted.
Then the boss comes right back with the foreplane all dirtied up in the diamond formation. And this is really difficult. This is the only team I'm aware of that does this maneuver, and it's called a diamond dirty loop. They are dirtied up, flying this FA-18 Super Hornet into a loop. It gives you an idea of how much power these engines have. And when you get a chance to see Chris Kapushansky in the corner, you can see the expression on his face of he is so focused on staying in position. You'll notice that they come down the backside. Some of the aircraft have the smoke goes off. Anytime they have to go into afterburner in order to stay in position, the smoke will go off because the smoke will not work when these aircraft are in afterburner. And afterburner is just a slight touch of the control, power control. Then Julius Bratton gives the crowd a show of just how spectacular this F-18 Super Hornet really is in a minimum radius turn. And watch his face now.
Look at that face.
He is pulling 7 Gs, which means for these few seconds, he weighs 7 times his normal weight. And if you could hear him in the cockpit, he is making some really funny sounds as he's trying to...
A lot of people don't realize they're not wearing G-suits.
No G-suits.
These guys are doing it all.
They tighten up every muscle in their legs all the way up. Everything they can do to keep blood to the brain so that they don't gray out or pass out. This one's called the double farvel. I've never been able to find out what a farvel is, but this is a double farvel where the boss and number 4 actually go inverted. And as I like to tell the crowd, even when the boss is inverted, he's still the boss. He's still in the lead. When aircraft Navy pilots come back to the aircraft carrier, they always come back in formation just like you're looking at here, and it's in a right echelon. So the Blue Angels do a lot of demonstrating what all Navy and Marine Corps pilots learn to do. But that right echelon is a beautiful formation, and it's the way we come back to the ship. Then once again, the solos go at each other, again 900 miles per hour as they go head to head. Then the boss shifts into left echelon.
Sorry about that, but you know, you're going to miss the fast pass if you spend too much time watching that maneuver.
Julius Bratton did a fast pass at 700 miles an hour, and then while the crowd is focused on him, from behind them comes Griffin Stengel in number 6 doing what we call a sneak pass, and it usually catches everybody by surprise, and it's fun to watch the crowd jump as he goes over. Then the boss invited Julius and number 5 to join the formation, only this time they are line abreast. You talk about it's a really difficult way to fly formation. It's much people don't realize that, but it's much easier to fly when you're in tight because you have at least 2 or 3 different things that you're looking at in order to stay in position. But when you're line abreast, you're looking 90 degrees. You're looking next to you. And it's difficult. They do a really good job here, but it's difficult to keep those aircraft the same distance apart.
Yeah, it is.
And again, you'll see anytime the smoke goes off, that pilot had to just move his throttle into afterburner for a few seconds to get enough power to stay in position. Then the solos coming at each other again, 900 miles an hour closing speed, and this time they do that horizontal rolls. This is one of those ooh and ah moments. The crowd loves this one. A lot of cameras are clicking on this one. This is, they call it the diamond vertical brake. And the solos again coming at each other, this time doing a pitch up. And again, it's so much of what the blues demonstrate to the crowd is the capability not only of the pilots, but the capability of this F/A-18 Super Hornet. It's an amazing aircraft. And the blues also demonstrate a lot of the tactical maneuvers that fighter pilots all learned. And one is called a barrel roll maneuver. But the Blue Angels, they put together a barrel roll brake. So you can see the boss going over the barrel right now. In a moment, he'll bring the formation back down. And as they go up the other side, they will brake. Again, watch Chris Kapushansky in the right-hand corner.
Day at the office.
Just, well, it is. It is just he's just chewing gum and having a good time, but he never takes his eye off the lead.
And you can see the lead in his visor,
Yep.
which is kind of cool.
Just watch the concentration, and he's going to clear the brake. That's perfect.
Love this one.
This one surprises a lot of people. In the beginning, they think it's only one aircraft, and then they separate and they do a roll. They're pretty close when they do that roll.
Yeah, they are.
Now here's another brake maneuver. This is called the low brake cross. This time, each of the aircraft is going to go out about 1.5 miles. And then they're going to all turn in at exactly the same time. And if you listen to them on the radio, you'll hear them talk to each other, calling out their speeds and altitudes. Their goal is for all 4 aircraft to reach the center point of the field at exactly the same time. Now, they're at different altitudes, of course, but they are calling speeds right now. They're trying to match the speed so that they all arrive at the same time. So if they do it well, you will see almost a straight vertical line between all 4 aircraft. Let's see if it happens here.
Guarantee if you
There
stop
it
the
is.
video,
That's pretty good.
they'll be pretty well stacked
There
up.
would be. And I always tell the audience that if you've been taking pictures, you're probably going to have nothing but sky and clouds when you get home. So the Blue Angels slow down to about 120 miles an hour in this called a high alpha pass. High angle of attack. Angle of attack is simply the angle at which the air is hitting the belly of your airplane. And so they are doing about 120 miles an hour, which takes almost full power to go this slow. And then at the end, you'll notice that Julius Bratton is able to go afterburner and climb that F/A-18 Super Hornet straight up. Then here's a real crowd pleaser. The boss brings the formation around, calls them all into afterburner, and the crowd gets the sound of about 176,000 pounds of thrust, and we like to call that the sound of freedom as they go by.
On a dark, cloudy day, you can really, the afterburner stands out as
It
they're
really
going around
does,
that
yeah.
corner. It's a really neat shot.
Each engine is 22,000 pounds of thrust in afterburner. So each aircraft's got 40. So if you do the math, it's 176,000 pounds of thrust, and the crowd loves it. In 1968, the Blue Angels added this maneuver. It's called the Delta Formation. All 6 aircraft together in the Delta. And they do a beautiful job of the Delta roll. Now here comes my favorite. All 6 aircraft break apart. And they call this the Fleur-de-Lis. Also called the Starburst. This is probably one of the most photographed pictures of the Blue Angels that you'll see.
Yeah, it's just neat how the Delta, the diamond reforms in the climb.
Yep.
And then they're right back in that diamond formation.
Again, you can watch Chris Kapushansky down in the corner. He is really focused. These guys, all naval aviators learn to fly formation. That's one of the, early on in your training, you're flying formation because it is so critical. I know it's great for air shows, but everything we do off a carrier, we go out in formation, we come back in formation. This is where we, little thing called a rendezvous. Some people refer to it as a join up. We call it a rendezvous in the Navy. You'll notice that the boss has the diamond formation down low. In a moment, he's going to start turning to the right. The 2 solos up in the left-hand corner are going to start coming down, and their goal is to rendezvous with the boss.
We'll bring you that video in its entirety at a later time.
All right, this is a real crowd pleaser. The boss takes the Delta formation straight up. They're going to come over the top, and they're going to break. And they call this the loop break cross, but it also has another name. It's called Pandemonium, and you'll see why in just a moment. Now, all 6 aircraft are going to go out about 2 miles, 6 different directions.
This is a massive maneuver. To me, there's no way to watch all of it.
No.
You have to pick somebody and just stay with it, which is what we did here.
I tell people in the audience, pick your favorite. Just pick your favorite. Then they climb up to about a couple thousand feet, and then they come over the top. And they're inverted right now. The one we've got selected, he's inverted. He's going to come straight down here in a moment. He's going to roll upright. And again, all 6 aircraft are going to reach center field, again at the same time. This time, all 6. And their goal is to be there at exactly the same time. Let's see how they do. There they come. And that, my friends, is why we call it Pandemonium. I love it. That's my favorite. Then before you know it, it's almost over, and the boss brings the diamond formation right at the crowd, and they do what's called a fan break. And it's a beautiful picture moment for the folks in the audience. Then they come in for the landing. It's called a pitch-up break. They come in about 600 feet. They pitch up to about 1,000 to the pattern altitude. There's about a second between aircraft as they break. Each pilot now, you can see Julius Bratton in the lower right-hand corner. They are going through their landing checklist. Gear flaps down. Tail hook stays up because they're not going to land on a carrier. And they come around and land, and they taxi in together. And David, as the Blue Angels approach to land, I'd like to remind the viewers that these guys, the whole team, the whole squadron of Blue Angels, they represent the thousands of young men and young women who are serving at this very moment in our aircraft carriers, our naval vessels, submarines, all the Navy and Marine bases all around the world. And they are ready at a moment's notice to support and defend those freedoms that you and I really enjoy. And I think that's the important thing. As these guys travel around the country and put on their shows for the folks, that's who they really represent. They represent the military people that are out there today.
I love the shots with the comm cart, because we hadn't really said very much about what's going on down there with the white truck and the people that are kind of milling around down there. But you and I both know who those guys are. What can you tell me about that operation?
A lot of people don't realize that whether it's a show or a practice, the Blue Angels are being videotaped. They have members of their team that are on the ground that are always ready to critique the shows. Sometimes they'll give them feedback over the radio while they're in the air, but the Blues depend on those guys, and it might be the flight surgeon, it might be the maintenance officer. You don't really know who is out there, but these are all Blue Angel squadron members who are ready to critique these guys, and they're pretty good at taking feedback because they get a lot of it. And what is so neat, as you said earlier, they do everything in formation. And so in just a moment you will see as they taxi back in. The boss brings them right back in formation. And if you have a radio and can listen in to them as they taxi in, which we get to do all the time, the boss is usually complimenting the team and they're patting each other on the back. They really are a team. And they get to know each other and they get to know each other's habits.
I'll tell you, some of our most popular videos are just Blue Angels taxiing. They're not even in the air. You know, we'll do like a little quick taxi out, and we'll get lots of reaction to those.
Sometimes we'll have a crowd out there and the weather gets bad and the Blue Angels don't get to fly, but they will have taxied out, and a lot of the crowd's happy with that. They got to see the Blues up close.
That's right. I know we didn't get it here. Sometimes we get that smoke shot. I noticed the last couple practices they hadn't been doing it, so I have to figure out what's the deal.
Yeah, we get used to standing there and anticipating the number 5 is going to blow the smoke at us.
Well, that was fun.
Another practice in the books.
Well, thanks for being here, Doug. I really appreciate it.
Let me just add one thing. A lot of people go to air shows and they watch stunt pilots, and the Blue Angels will tell you we are not stunt pilots. We are showing people what Navy and Marine Corps pilots all learn to do, and that's the great part. So they showcase the aviators and what they learn to do, and they showcase the aircraft that they fly. It's an amazing thing. I enjoy this. Thank you, sir.
It's a talented group.
It really is.
Well, we appreciate your talents today.
My pleasure. Thank you.